Ezekiel 24. In the 9th year, in the 10th month, on the 10th day, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, record this date, this very date, because the king of Babylon has laid siege to Jerusalem this very day. Tell this rebellious people a parable and say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Put on the cooking pot, put it on and pour water into it. Put into it the pieces of meat, all the choice pieces, the leg and the shoulder. Fill it with the best of the bones. Take the pick of the flock. Pile wood beneath it for the bones. Bring it to a boil and cook the bones in it. For this is what the sovereign Lord says. Woe to the city of bloodshed, to the pot now encrusted, whose deposit will not go away. Take the meat out piece by piece in whatever order it comes. For the blood she shed is in her midst. She poured it on the bare rock. She did not pour it on the ground where the dust would cover it. To stir up wrath and take revenge, I put her blood on the bare rock so that it would not be covered. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Woe to the city of bloodshed. I too will pile the wood high. So heap on the wood and kindle the fire. Cook the meat well, mixing in the spices, and let the bones be charred. Then set the empty pot on the coals till it becomes hot, and its copper glows, so that its impurities may be melted and its deposits burned away. It has frustrated all efforts. Its heavy deposit has not been removed, not even by fire. Now your impurity is lewdness, because I tried to cleanse you, but you would not be cleansed from your impurity. You will not be clean again until my wrath against you has subsided. I, the Lord, have spoken. The time has come for me to act. I will not hold back. I will not have pity, nor will I relent. You will be judged according to your conduct and your actions, declares the sovereign Lord. Now, I want you to pay attention to what he does with Ezekiel, because this is what I've been taking up with the Lord this morning. Do you want me to speak this message? Because at least these people living at this time, as wicked as they were, they understood what a sign was through a prophet. They understood that. And so they ask him, won't you tell us what these things mean to us, what these things have to do with us? But the people living at this time in history don't seem to understand anything in the word. Don't seem to understand that they have a covenant. They don't understand what the covenant is, the terms of the covenant. They reject the notion that God is the one who heals us, that he's used that synonymously with salvation, has established the process of healing for us to understand what he's doing in the covenant, what a sign is, what a witness is, what a prophet does, that a prophet is not some psychic doing a reading over you, telling you what the Lord wants to do for you, that a prophet comes to warn. That's the reason they killed the prophets and hated them and hated the way they were speaking the message and hated the message. This is none of this. It doesn't seem like anybody understands anything that is written in the word. And the word is offensive to them. When someone speaks the truth about what is written in the word and the things that are going on in the world right now, and the fact that God says, when I do these things, when I start to harm the earth, when I send you disease, when I send you illness, if you return to me and repent and turn from your wicked ways, then I'll restore you. No, that's offensive. That's a destructive message, right? And no one understands the signs that God is doing through his prophets. They just think they're nuts. They just think that they are making bad decisions, that they're crazy. But I'm going to give this my best effort at showing you what God does through his prophets and what his prophets are actually for. God sends his prophets to warn, and he does signs through his prophets. He enacts signs through his prophets in order to help you understand the times. So that when he's doing this, if you've discerned someone to be a prophet, you need to go back to God and you need to ask him, what does this have to do with us? You need to go ask him, is this person of you or not? What are you teaching us? The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, with one blow I'm about to take away from you the delight of your eyes. By the way, what has Ezekiel done that God's going to do this to him? But you know what? He's using Ezekiel as a sign, and Ezekiel's got to drink the cup. He has to accept what God is doing through him. I'm going to take away from you the delight of your eyes. Yet do not lament or weep or shed any tears. Groan quietly. Do not mourn for the dead. Keep your turban fastened and your sandals on your feet. Do not cover your mustache or beard or eat the customary food of mourners. So I spoke to the people in the morning, and in the evening my wife died. The next morning I did as I had been commanded. Then the people asked me, won't you tell us what these things have to do with us? Why are you acting like this? What did they understand right there? That Ezekiel is not crazy. He's acting peculiar because God is doing something through him. Because he is a sign to the people. So I said to them, the word of the Lord came to me. Say to the people of Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I'm about to desecrate my sanctuary, the stronghold in which you take pride, the delight of your eyes, the object of your affection. The sons and daughters you left behind will fall by the sword, and you will do as I have done. You will not cover your mustache and beard, or eat the customary food of mourners. You will keep your turbans on your heads, and your sandals on your feet. You will not mourn or weep, but will waste away because of your sins, and groan among yourselves. Ezekiel will be a sign to you. You will do just as he has done. When this happens, you will know that I am the sovereign Lord. And you, son of man, on the day I take away their stronghold, their joy and glory, the delight of their eyes, their heart's desire, and their sons and daughters as well. On that day, a fugitive will come to tell you the news. At that time, your mouth will be open. You will speak with him and will no longer be silent. So you will be a sign to them, and they will know that I am the Lord. This past week, God's been talking to me, or about a week ago, God started talking to me about putting up, and I talked about it on the channel, about how we must put up our house for his. And that if we do not put up our house for his, if we do not put our house on the line, our house will not be saved. That is a sign to you. That is exactly what I did. It's not the only sign. I'm going to talk to you about more. That is exactly what I did when God told me that I was not to get rid of the building, that I was not to sell the building, that he was not done with it. And I had no idea what he was going to do. Are people going to live in it? What is it that he's going to do? And I could not have possibly known what he was going to do with that building. The one thing that I did know is that if I didn't sell that building, I was going to lose my house. And you all know that my house has been sold, that my house was auctioned, and yet he has me still living here. And he will continue to do so until I'm done with what he set me apart to do. You know that I have told you I am going to die in 3 months. In 3 months and a week, I will be done with what he set me apart to do. This week he began talking with me about abandoning the building. And I've been sitting with him and I've been trying to understand, why are you telling me to do this? How can I be sure you're telling me to do this? But he has continued to speak this message, that it is time for me to abandon the building because he is getting ready to abandon his house. And so I took up with him, are there things that I should grab from the building? Are there things that I should go and take, or do you want me to leave it there? Because I will handle this however it is that you want me to do it. And there were things that he had me take off of the walls, such as my degrees. And it was incredibly painful. It was so incredibly painful to go there, to this place that I poured my heart and soul into this place. It's so beautiful. Restoring it, cleaning it up. This is a place that God has used in order to teach me how to take care of his house. And now I was pulling things off of the walls and seeing it being stripped and going through the memories with my daughter of every little thing that was happening. This week it's the electrical, the next week it's the painting and the floors and all of the things that we did with that building to restore it, to clean it up. All of the things that God taught me and the ways that he built me as I was building, quote unquote, this building, this house. How he had me get rid of the people who were working there because he said, no foreigners uncircumcised in heart can be in this house. And how I didn't even use that house for the purposes that I thought I was going to be using it for. I did not make money on it. I did not exploit it. I did not do any of that. because he was teaching me how I was to take care of his house. And so in spite of the fact that I had purchased that building for a completely different reason, this is what God led me into. And he kept the place empty, and he protected it anyway. And he told me things like, if I have to keep this place empty because there is no one who's circumcised in heart, then that's what I will do. And that's exactly what he did. And he caused me to use all of my savings, my retirement, and to put my own house on the line in order to save and keep that building. And after all that, he's telling me, now you're going to abandon the building because I'm getting ready to abandon my house. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Sounds absolutely nuts. So you better believe that I sit with God and I ask him for those witnesses by his Spirit and his truth, that this is indeed what he wants me to do. And I want to remind you that Ezekiel, when he's called to be a watchman, goes in the anger and bitterness of his spirit. And the reason I'm reminding you of that is because this is how I feel about his people at this point. And it is actually very difficult at this point, after all that I've done to speak to you guys and to teach you the truth, and I continue to do it because I'm committed to his name first. It's very difficult at this point for me to feel tenderness toward you because you listen but you don't obey, and you think that's enough, just like you think that that you can believe but not obey. You think that that's acceptable, and it's not. And you despise my offering. And it's really sort of brilliant, and I'm in awe of the fact that because I have loved this building and put so much into it, given so much love to it, even when it was a burden to me, I didn't want to go over there and clean it and maintain it and water the plants and do all of this. I didn't want to do that. It was a burden to me, but I went and I did it in love, and I restored that place in love, and I invested in it all the way to the point of putting my own house on the line. And for a few days I was really contemplating this, what am I supposed to understand about this, Lord, because this isn't the way that I feel towards your people, but your people I'm angry with. I feel bitter about what I've been doing to bring them in, and they just don't care. I don't feel that same way about the building. With the building, I feel pain. I feel grief. I don't want to leave it. I don't want to abandon it. Who's going to take care of it? These are the things that I feel. But see, God has used that in order to make me feel the grief that he feels. And so he's been speaking things to me like the Song of the Vineyard, how he built this watchtower and he dug trenches and he planted these vines and he watched over it. He watched over this vineyard. Why did it yield only bad grapes? He cared for it. Or how can I give you up, Ephraim? How can I hand you over, Israel? Or in Ezekiel, you became very beautiful and rose to be a queen, and your fame spread among the nations on account of your beauty. Because of the splendor I had given you, made your beauty perfect, declares the sovereign Lord. But you trusted in your beauty and used your fame to become a prostitute. You lavished your favors on anyone who passed by, and your beauty became his. These are the things that God has been speaking to me to help me to understand, using the building as a sign to me to make me understand what God feels about you, how he feels about abandoning you and handing you over to that spirit of Satan to destroy your flesh, to bring you to a place where a remnant will finally return, because you wouldn't be cleansed otherwise. You rejected what he sent his prophets to do. You refused to be cleansed. And I've been praying and praying even after leaving the office. Lord, it's not too late. Please, if I'm wrong about this, then let me know. But if I'm right, if I'm indeed hearing you speak this message to me and telling me to do this, then this is what I will do. But I need a witness. I need you to confirm so that I'm not walking away wondering. And that night I came home to a message that I'm going to read to you. I'm working on deleting my accounts and getting rid of this smartphone. It continues to be an idol in my life. I had a dream about you last week. I saw you out somewhere and invited you to come over and have dinner with us. You were happy to because you said you hadn't eaten since a month ago. When you got to my house, I had asked if you would let me know if you saw any idols in the form of my decor. And when we came in, my whole kitchen, to my surprise, was filled with all these carved statues from all these foreign lands and places. I had no idea how they had even gotten into my kitchen, the heart of the home where we get nourished. So I'm going to try and clean out my phone, delete accounts, and drop it in the river by my house. I'm going to remove all the things that he is showing me come between my pure devotion to him and being single-minded. I wanted you to know that I do think your message, God's message through you, is making an impact on those striving to stay on the narrow path. So please don't think your work is in vain. Obviously it isn't, because it's continuing to transform you, so that in and of itself it's profitable. I do love you very much, and you are woven into the fabric of my heart. I'm not sure if I can delete my email account. I'm not savvy with technology. But if I can, then I won't have this way to talk any longer. I will always have you guys in prayer. Thank you for everything and the time you've sacrificed. And I immediately responded, telling this person, the idols are not objects. Idols are not things. Idols are what you've set up in your heart. You wouldn't, for this reason, stop eating food, would you? No, you would say, I need to have a different relationship in my heart with food. I need to get disciplined. I need to stop setting this up between me and God. Why would God want you to be separated from the rest of his body? God is not leading you to do this. Why would he set someone up to speak these things to you and then tell you to separate from them? You're going to block yourself from the rest of the world? How can you be used? It just sent my heart over the edge in grief after such a heavy day at the office, to think that I won't be able to speak with this person again before I go. And so I pled with them by email, don't delete your email unless God tells you to do so. And idol's not the object, it's the way you relate with the object. You're speaking about images in your kitchen, but that's not the idol. The idol is how you're relating with the image. That's why you don't set up images, because you start having that relationship in your heart. But there are other things that are needed, such as food, that you can make an idol if you're undisciplined. This is why God says to discipline your flesh. And God was starting to build this, increase this grief, transfer the grief from the house, or maybe relate the grief from the building to his body and to the people I've worked with. This is a person I worked with, one of the very first people I worked with. And it's not a coincidence that at this very time, this is what they're doing. And it's not a coincidence that God is using this in order to help me to feel that grief for his people through the building first, and then through this person who I love. And I spoke with my daughter that night because I really was just inconsolable. I was in so much pain over all of this. What do I have to show for what I've done? What do I have to show for what I did with the building? What do I have to show for what I've done with you? No one obeys. And that's not unbiblical. It says that in the Word. We know that Jesus was dealing with these same feelings, and the apostles were dealing with these same feelings. It talks about it in Isaiah. Who has believed our message? To whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? I've spent my strength in vain. And the next morning I woke up with my eyes swollen from having been crying all night. And I asked God, please help me to know I've made the right decision. Help me to know that I've done this in you. And immediately he spoke the words to me, "Your house has been left to you desolate." And he told me to look it up. Matthew 23, verse 37. "Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who killed the prophets and stoned those I sent to you. How often I have longed to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you were not willing. Look, your house is left to you desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, 'Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.'" This is what Jesus spoke to the people. And in a way, I'm speaking a similar message because I'm getting ready to leave here. I'm not going to be here much longer, and I know that God is going to save some of you, but I also know that you're going to be brought really low, and that he is getting ready to abandon his house. And just as it says in Ezekiel, you will not be clean again until his wrath against you has subsided. You are going to bear the consequences of your sin because you rejected the sacrifice of the witnesses. You rejected what he attempted to do, or what he sent to you in order to cleanse you. I want to talk with you about this definition of desolate. If you Google this definition, it says of a place, deserted. Deserted. Pay attention to the language. What did he tell me to do? He told me abandon the building because he is getting ready to abandon his house. And in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. What did I tell you that he said to me? He said if he needs to keep that building empty because there are no righteous people, because there is no one who is circumcised in heart, then that's what he will do. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is exactly what he has told me to do, and that this is a sign to you guys. And to be honest, it's taken me a couple days to speak it to you because I could hardly whisper it. It is so painful, it is so bitter, and it is so vulnerable a message to speak to you. I could hardly whisper it, but I know that this message is true. Ezekiel 30, verse 10, this is what the sovereign Lord says. "I will put an end to the hordes of Egypt by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. He and his army, the most ruthless of nations, will be brought in to destroy the land. They will draw their swords against Egypt and fill the land with the slain. I will dry up the waters of the Nile and sell the land to an evil nation. By the hand of foreigners, I will lay waste the land and everything in it." This is what God is getting ready to do. He's going to bring low, and he's going to destroy. You want to tell me your plan for how you're going to escape that? You want to tell me what was the plan of people in Texas when the Guadalupe River rose 30 feet, washing away their houses and their cars and their children? What's your plan for that? What's your security? What's your refuge? This world isn't going to care for you. God is the only one who's ever cared for us. And the word says as many times as that scourge comes, you are going to be beaten down by it. Your covenant with death is going to be annulled. But you guys don't seem like you want that. It seems like you're clutching to it. Like you want that gravestone. Making up things that God is supposedly saying to you. God did not tell this person to go throw their phone in the river, or to cancel their email address, the only way that they have of communicating with God's servant. During the last 3 months of my life here. Why now? I would like to know, why now is that person being told to do that? It is a lie. That is a lie. It is not coming from God. And I'm going to tell you why that person is deceived. Because all of this time that I have loved her, that I have continued to talk with her, she's heard the message. She knows better. She has heard the rebukes, and she has not repented. She has not turned away from the things that she was rebuked on. The reason why I told her to separate and go and stop those things that she was doing, she hasn't returned to God, or she would have repented and come back and assembled with the body. She knows that. I've said it on these videos multiple times, haven't I? I've said to those of you who have separated from the body, repent, be moved to repent, and come back and assemble with the body and do the things that God commands. But she was never moved to do that. And the reason she was not moved to do it is because she did not return to God. And it kills me that this is the final result. As I was speaking with my daughter that night, and I was grieved beyond anything I can describe, my daughter said, that feels like a suicide letter. I don't understand it at all. Why is she making this decision? This isn't clear. This is not God-led. And I'm telling you that is the best description that a person can make of what this is. It is spiritual suicide. It is worse than physical suicide. A person who has known the truth, known what will give them life, and has chosen to reject it. And I'm not just talking about this person, because that would do no good for you. I'm using this example to tell you what you're doing. You have heard the message, but you don't obey. You are engaging in spiritual suicide. That fifth trumpet is going to blow in a little more than 3 months. And you people have not returned. And the reason I know you haven't returned is because you don't obey. And after that fifth trumpet blows, no one will return. That's when the woes start. That is the reason the woes start. Because it has been decided. You are committing spiritual suicide. You will not be saved if you do not return. God is getting ready to abandon his house. You don't have to take what I say because of who I am. But you do need to go to God and discern whether I am speaking a message that has come from him. Have regard for him. Isn't that the first and greatest commandment that's supposed to fulfill all laws and result in your salvation? Then why don't you do it? I'm sick and tired of receiving messages from you guys that include false doctrines that I know you're continuing to listen to false teachers on YouTube because you don't discern. Because what is written about you is true. That you gather around yourselves many teachers who tell you what your itching ears want to hear. That you are lovers of self. You're not lovers of God. You don't have in your heart what God set you apart to do, or his kingdom, or his name, what he's doing. That's not in your heart. You've heard the truth from me, but you've rejected it. You are engaging in spiritual suicide. Go discern this message with God.